Golf's civil war just exploded again. A PGA Tour bombshell has landed, and Brian Rolap's leadership now sits at the center of a global shift. The PGA Tour's Asian Tour move now leaves LIV Golf facing a new threat at the worst moment. This is not about one tournament. It is about control, access, and the future LIV thought it had already secured. On July 21st, 2026, the Asian Tour joined the PGA Tour and DP World Tour in a partnership lasting through at least 2029. The announcement sounded diplomatic. Its consequences do not. LIV used the international series to build credibility, recruit players, and support its claim of offering a genuine competitive pathway. From 2027, leading Asian Tour players will gain routes toward the DP World Tour, while selected co-sanctioned events return. Rolap has not publicly called this an attack. That silence makes the move more dangerous. LIV is seeking fresh investment as guaranteed PIF backing approaches its scheduled end after 2026. Subscribe now because the damage may still be hidden. Next, we reveal why this quiet alliance could threaten LIV's feeder system, international calendar, and survival plan before the league fully understands what has changed beneath its feet. The danger becomes clearer when the calendar is examined, because LIV's problem is no longer theoretical. 3 days after the alliance became public, Martin Kamer said the league's season-ending team championship was highly unlikely to happen. He placed its chances at 5%, while describing players as largely unaware of what would come next. LIV still completed its United Kingdom event on July 26th, where Lucas Herbert won and Ripper GC took the team title. That result proved the league remained active, but uncertainty still surrounded August and 2027. The Asian Tour agreement therefore arrived when every dependable relationship mattered. The International Series gave the breakaway league something its closed roster could not provide on its own. Season-long results could bring entry into LIV or a place in LIV Golf promotions. That pathway helped answer one of the sharpest criticisms directed at the league. LIV could argue that access was not limited to famous recruits. An outsider could play his way into the league. The Asian Tour also supplied established tournament operations. LIV did not need to invent every venue, relationship, or local connection from nothing. Its reported $300 million commitment helped create a collection of elevated events with purses starting at $2 million. The arrangement carried tournaments into important markets while giving Asian Tour members opportunities that had been difficult to find after the pandemic. Both sides gained. LIV received credibility, while the Asian Tour gained investment and larger prizes. That history makes the latest move damaging. LIV strengthened an organization that has now secured another route forward. Cho Min Thant has explained that partnering with LIV made sense when the Asian Tour needed options, but circumstances later changed. His reasoning was practical rather than emotional. Dependable playing opportunities mattered to members, while sponsors and tournament organizers needed confidence in future calendars. The new agreement offers a relationship lasting through at least 2029, which reaches further than LIV's publicly settled financial horizon. The immediate picture still requires restraint. The 2026 International Series has not vanished. Its official platform continues to describe events as co-sanctioned by LIV Golf and the Asian Tour. Promotion into LIV remains attached to the current rankings. Several tournaments are still scheduled, including national opens with established identities. Claims that Rolap has already erased LIV from Asian Golf would therefore be false. The sharper concern begins after this season because the public announcement did not explain what becomes of that LIV pathway once the new structure starts delivering benefits in 2027. Silence around that question creates suspense. LIV offered no official response, while the Asian Tour published no detailed separation agreement. Neither organization revealed whether the International Series name, funding model, or qualification route would survive unchanged. That missing information matters because the PGA Tour and DP World Tour are not entering Asia for a brief promotional visit. Their commitment includes player pathways, commercial cooperation, and selected co-sanctioned tournaments. Those pieces overlap with functions that made the LIV relationship strategically useful. The player pathway deserves close attention. Starting in 2027, leading Asian Tour members are expected to receive routes toward DP World Tour playing rights. Exact categories and qualifying numbers have not been released. That limitation must remain clear. Asian Tour players are not suddenly receiving direct PGA Tour cards. Their first confirmed destination is the DP World Tour. Yet the existing alliance between the PGA Tour and DP World Tour means success in Europe can eventually create further opportunity. A golfer can now view the Asian Tour as part of a longer traditional ladder instead of treating LIV as the only major reward at the top. For ambitious players, that choice can shape a career. LIV presents large purses at international events, whereas the traditional route carries ranking access, national championships, and a clearer PGA Tour connection. Individual priorities will differ. Some golfers will still prefer LIV. Others may see the new pathway as a safer long-term bet. The threat does not require every player to reject LIV. It only requires enough emerging talent to believe another road carries less uncertainty. Tournament inventory creates a separate problem. Reports surrounding LIV's search for investors have suggested that a smaller international schedule could form part of its future model. National Opens would be attractive within that plan because they already possess history, local recognition, and institutional support. The 2026 International Series includes the Hong Kong Open, Singapore Open, and Philippine Open. Those events are more than available dates on a calendar. Their names carry meaning that a newly created tournament cannot buy instantly. No announcement has transferred those specific championships to PGA Tour control. Such a claim would go beyond the evidence. The strategic risk is narrower and more credible. A deeper Asian Tour partnership with the PGA Tour and DP World Tour may limit LIV's ability to package Asian events as dependable assets for future investors. A structure secured through 2029 could look safer to host bodies, while organizers and sponsors may value co-sanctioning that brings established pathways and players from several tours. This is where Brian Rolapp becomes relevant without becoming a fictional mastermind. He has not claimed personal ownership. Christian Hardy represented the PGA Tour in the announcement. Still, major partnerships formed under Rolapp's leadership contribute to the platform he is shaping. His PGA Tour is redesigning its competitive model, clarifying promotion routes, and considering how international circuits fit around its premier schedule. The Asian Tour Alliance supports that direction. It places another respected organization inside a connected network, while LIV works to define its next version. Rolap does not need to declare war for the outcome to pressure LIV. Business competition often turns on certainty, backed by strategic sports group investment. The PGA Tour already combines its domestic platform with cross-tour opportunities through the DP World Tour. Asian reach now strengthens that network. LIV, meanwhile, must persuade outside investors that its reduced or revised format can generate enough value without unlimited PIF support. Every relationship that moves toward the traditional network makes that sales pitch harder. The financial numbers explain the urgency. LIV and its advisors were reported to be seeking between $250 million and $350 million after PIF decided to stop funding beyond 2026. Other plans were linked to media revenue and possible team sales. Those discussions do not prove Levy will fail. Scott O'Neill has expressed confidence about attracting new backing. Cameron Smith has said he received assurances about the league continuing. Joaquin Neiman has also spoken positively about Livey's ability to evolve. Optimism, however, cannot replace signed capital. Potential investors will examine costs, audience growth, media arrangements, player contracts, tournament commitments, and the reliability of international partners. The Asian Tour once strengthened that story through a development structure, recognizable events, and a visible connection to conventional tour golf. If that connection weakens, investors may demand a lower valuation, stronger protections, or a less expensive operating model. The team championship uncertainty makes those questions harder to avoid. Kamer's comments did not come from an outside critic. They came from a LIV captain and two-time major winner. His 5% estimate showed how little confidence existed around a showcase event that was supposed to complete the season. A cancellation would not automatically end the league, yet it would damage trust during a funding process. Public uncertainty affects investor confidence, player trust, and the willingness of partners to remain committed. LIV's return in England offered an important counterpoint. Herbert's victory and Ripper GC's team success produced a real sporting conclusion. Fans attended, players competed, and the broadcast product continued. Any honest script must recognize that evidence. LIV is not an empty logo waiting to disappear. It retains major champions, recognizable teams, and the ability to stage expensive events. Its threat comes from the gap between current operations and future certainty. The Asian Tour move widens that gap at a sensitive time. Joaquin Niemann's reaction captured the complicated truth. He welcomed the three-tour partnership as good news for international golf, then argued that LIV helped open the door for this kind of attention. His point carries weight. The traditional tours showed greater interest in global pathways after LIV disrupted the market. Asian Tour purses increased because LIV invested heavily. Players received more choices because competition forced established organizations to respond. LIV can therefore claim influence even while the latest response threatens its own position. That irony gives the story its strongest emotional edge. LIV wanted to reshape professional golf through pressure. The PGA Tour is now answering with structure. Instead of matching every signing fee, the traditional side is strengthening pathways and reclaiming relationships. The Asian Tour is useful because it connects developing players, important markets, and established championships. Rolap's network can benefit from all three without buying an entire rival roster. The move is quieter than a superstar defection. Its impact could last longer. Rory McIlroy welcomed the partnership as positive news for international golf. His response reflected the traditional tour's public message of collaboration rather than conquest. That language is understandable because the Asian Tour must protect its independence and its relationships across the region. A formal victory speech would create unnecessary conflict. The strategic outcome remains visible beneath the polite statements. LIV's former feeder relationship now faces an uncertain future while its competitors gain a formal position inside the same ecosystem. The DP World Tour also has reasons to value the arrangement beyond LIV. It previously maintained a strategic alliance with the Asian Tour from 2016 through 2021. Co-sanctioning between the organizations stretches back much further. Restoring selected joint events can strengthen fields and offer members additional starts. It may also help the DP World Tour reinforce its identity as a global circuit at a time when Topgolf has become increasingly concentrated around the United States and the largest purses. The relationship is not being built from scratch. The DP World Tour and Asian Tour maintained a strategic alliance from 2016 through 2021, while their co-sanctioning history reaches back to the 1999 Malaysian Open. More than 100 joint events followed. That record lowers the risk of restarting cooperation and gives organizers a familiar model to use. For the Asian Tour, diversification reduces dependence. Heavy reliance on one benefactor creates exposure when its direction changes. LIV's investment delivered benefits, but PIF's decision altered the calculation. A partnership involving two established tours gives Asian Tour leadership another source of opportunity. It can welcome players from outside the region, pursue commercial projects, and offer members routes that remain connected to conventional tour membership. The decision looks less like betrayal when viewed from that perspective. It resembles institutional self-preservation. LIV supporters can reasonably argue that the league retains leverage. Its players attract attention, several teams have recognizable brands, and Australian events have drawn strong crowds. A new investor could preserve the product, restructure costs, and continue international series involvement through a revised agreement. Nothing announced on July 21st legally prevents LIV from negotiating separate Asian tournaments. The league could also build its own qualification system or expand LIV Golf promotions. Every alternative carries a price. New tournaments need venues, staff, local approvals, broadcasters, sponsors, and committed players. A credible feeder system needs enough events for meaningful rankings, while replacement championships need brands that fans respect. Securing those pieces while reducing expenses would test any management team. The Asian Tour previously solved many of those problems through one relationship. Losing even part of that convenience makes LIV's rebuilding job more complicated. The most dangerous effect may involve perception. Golfers, agents, sponsors, and investors watch institutional movement. The Asian Tour chose a formal arrangement through 2029, and that date sends a signal. It suggests the organization sees long-term value inside the traditional network. LIV now has to counter that impression with concrete announcements about funding, schedule, qualification, and player retention. Reassurance alone will not close the credibility gap. This is why the title holds up when the drama is stripped away. Brian Rolap's Asian Tour move is not a documented personal attack, but it is a PGA Tour bombshell produced under his leadership. LIV Golf faces a new threat because an organization central to its international strategy has created a powerful alternative future. The danger reaches beyond one contract. It touches talent development, event access, commercial confidence, and the story LIV must tell anyone considering an investment. The next official details will determine the scale of the damage. Important signals will include the 2027 co-sanctioned events, the number of Asian Tour members gaining DP World Tour status, any post-2026 International Series schedule, and fresh funding secured by O'Neill. Those developments will show whether the alliance is a difficult setback or the start of a deeper separation. Until then, the clean conclusion is uncomfortable for LIV. The league helped turn the Asian Tour into a stronger global asset. Rolap's PGA Tour now stands to benefit from that growth, while LIV searches for the money and structure needed to continue. The supposed partner did not disappear overnight. It simply found another door, and that door leads toward LIV's biggest rival. Subscribe for more verified golf drama, then tell us in the comments whether LIV can survive this threat or whether Rolap has already changed the balance of power.